She's pretty. Can we have one book where the witches are large and in charge except actually nice? Why the slow-mo water exit? These are all things that I would love to be able to just drink in a tea and then go about my day. I don't want him to be bad. I just want to give him a big hug. It's the vibe that I'm going for today. It's Friday morning and this vlog has been an absolute reading fail. And that's an unexpected fave for me. Hello, I'm Beth Joey. This is a video. These are some books. Let's get into it. Welcome back to another round of Beat the Backlog, where I attempt to get the number of pieces of paper listing books in this jar from up here to down here by the end of 2024. Essentially, if you haven't seen one of these videos before, I've created this series because I realized that I own way too many books that I haven't read yet. So I printed off the name of every single book that I own, put it in this jar, and every now and then I make a vlog where I pick a few books out of the jar and vlog my experience reading them. I did this last night to pick my first book of the vlog, so I'll insert that clip here. So the book that Chance in the Jar selected for us was Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin. I picked this book up at Yelp and I think the cover for it is absolutely the most stunning cover I think I own. I'm very early on in the book at the moment, and to be honest, I don't remember a ton of what happened in those first like 20 pages that I've read, so I'm probably gonna go back to the beginning and start it again this morning. But as for what it's about, I'll read you the blurb. It follows Tana Fairchild, whose fate has never been in question. Her life has been planned out since the moment she was born. She is to marry the governor's son, Landon, and secure an unprecedented alliance between the witches of her island home and the mainlanders who see her very existence as a threat. Tana's coven has appeased those who fear their power for years by releasing most of their magic into the ocean during the full moon. But when Tana misses the midnight ritual, a fatal mistake, there is no one she can turn to for help until she meets Wolf. Wolf claims he is from a coven that practices dark magic, making him one of the only people who can help her, but he refuses to let Tana's power rush into the sea and instead teaches her his forbidden magic, a magic that makes her feel powerful, alive. As the sea grows more violent, her coven loses control of the currents, a danger that could destroy the alliance as well as her island. Tana will have no choice to choose between love and duty, between loyalty to her people and loyalty to her heart. Marrying Landon would secure peace for her coven, but losing Wolf and his wild magic could cost her everything else. So this is a forbidden romance, bit of a star-crossed lovers potentially. I'm really keen to read it. It is right before I start work. It's 8 AM right now and I start work at 8:30, so I might read like a little bit of it this morning and then jump into work for the day, read again some more on my lunch break, and I'll update you by the end of the day. But as usual, we're going to do our immediate reaction clips as we always do because I think they're fun and I hope you think that they're fun as well. So let's get straight into this book. This setting in this book is really serene, but then the author chucks in a, this used to be a battlefield, and all of a sudden, I've got chills. I've got actual chills. It's killing me. But seriously, this writing is gorgeous. I'm sorry, but what is tea gonna do for seaweed in your hair and dried salt in your eyebrows? Why is tea the solution for coming in looking like a bedraggled mess? Though to be fair, the way they're talking about this makeover and getting her all dressed up and beautiful and presentable is so magical. I'm almost imagining like a fairy godmother waving a magic wand and poof, she's pretty. One chapter into this book and we've got a world in turmoil, so yeah, we're reading fantasy. Every single witchy book that I read centers around witches being persecuted. Like, can we have one book where the witches are large and in charge except actually nice? Like large and in charge and not the villains. Maybe that would mean that there's like no storyline and there's nothing interesting happening, but I would just love to have a book where witches are the main characters and they're not being persecuted. That would be something new and different. But hey, I'm really enjoying this. These characters give such gossipy small town vibes and I'm absolutely loving it. I think the author's spending a lot of time in the book on describing each new location and being very vivid and imaginative with the wording, and that's something that I usually find really boring, but in this book it's just making it more atmospheric and immersive, and that's an unexpected fave for me. Why is the non-love interest so perfect and considerate? I mean, I don't want to love him this much, but I can't help myself. Ooh. I smell corruption of this magic system. And side note, are these moonflowers really poisonous, or is this just another thing that they're using to control the witches in this land? Okay, seriously, where can I get myself some of Ivy's tea? Like awaken, bravery, confidence, these are all things that I would love to be able to just drink in a tea and then go about my day. I knew it. I can't tell you what I knew because spoilers, but there's something that's just been revealed and I totally knew it. What I don't get is the why though. Okay, I am on my lunch break. I am about, or just about 100 pages into this book and I'm really, really enjoying it. It's been a very, very immersive experience for me reading this book. And the bit that I've just read, I mean, the tension is set and the clock is ticking. The things are officially moving into place, moving into action for this plot to kick off. But I do have a question. Why the slow-mo water exit? Because when I see in my mind the slow-mo water exit, when I visualize that, all I can think of is that scene from one of the Twilight movies of like Victoria and all of her people like slowly emerging out of the water. And I'm like, I can't take the scene seriously anymore. It's lost all seriousness and credibility because that's all I can picture from this slow motion emerging from the water. But honestly, this book is just so seriously easy to fly through. I'm not saying that it's like simple or anything like that, but the writing is so vivid and imaginative. The plot is pretty fast moving. It's honestly just really captivating and I'm loving how it's painting such vivid pictures of the scenery and of Tana's character. But I'm also getting serious Big Brother vibes from the mainland, which is kind of leading me to think that this like whole new magic thing is not really an actual thing. It's more just a method to control the witches in order to stop them from being persecuted. Like the witches generations ago when they made this deal with the mainland, they agreed to this so that they would stop getting actively persecuted, but not realizing the consequences of that and not realizing how it would impact nature and the world around them. So now they're kind of having to face that. And I think a few of them are refusing to come to terms with that because it would disrupt the way things are running and the partnership that they've created. Like it's just a deal that's gotten properly out of hand now. But I've also just been introduced to Wolf. Wolf has entered the chat. He has arrived. I love him as a main character. He's infuriatingly hilarious. Or hilariously infuriating is probably the right way to turn that around because he is really like set on just irritating Tana right now. Though I will say that the relationship between him and Tana is moving quite quickly. I do wish they had spent a little bit more time in sort of like barely their alliance before they went straight into the attraction because I feel like that attraction element is moving a little bit too fast. But hey, the attention is there and it's addictive. So I'm enjoying this read so far. Like I said, I'm just about 100 pages into the book and I'm going to get back to work, finish off my work day, and then I'll update you at the end of the day. I do have a little bit of time left on my lunch break, so I'll pick this up again, and if I have any sort of immediate reactions, of course, I'll update you guys. But yeah, my next full update will be either end of the day or first thing tomorrow morning, so I will see you then. I don't know how I feel about this high magic being conveniently easy and instinctual for Tana. It feels just a little bit lazy. Back again 2 pages later. I'm really hoping that Landon doesn't turn into the villain because he is just so sweet and considerate. He's such a cinnamon roll, and I really hope he just becomes like an ally for the future because he seems to be really considerate and aware of Tana's wants and needs as a witch. And yeah, I don't want him to be bad. I just want to give him a big hug. Morning. It is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. Am I wearing the exact same jumper that I was wearing yesterday? Why, yes. Yes, I am. It is my favorite jumper. My soon-to-be mother-in-law got it for me, and it says there is no such thing as too many books, which is just, it's the vibe that I'm going for today. Yesterday, I spent basically my entire evening doing some admin-y stuff while I was watching Criminal Minds. I wanted to add all the books that I've recently bought, which there weren't too many, into my TBR jar, so that in this vlog, I can pick from that. But I also added a few Kindle Unlimited books that I'm really keen to pick up because I consider them part of my TBR as well because they're super easy to borrow and grab. But anyway, I am 113 pages into Bring Me Your Midnight. I am really enjoying this book. As you can tell from the updates, it is so immersive, it is so vivid, the writing is incredible. There are a few relationship related things that I think are moving a little bit too swiftly, but that's all well and good. I'm just, you know, acknowledging the fact that this is a standalone, so things are going to have to move a little bit faster than potentially if this was turned into a series. I've got the entire day off today because Ben and I have our menu tasting for our wedding today, so this is obviously not what I'm going to be wearing. I don't have to get ready properly until later in the day. I might show you my outfit if I remember, but TBC on that front. Today though, it is probably the most dreary London day. Like we could not have picked a worse day to do something romantic and have the day off to spend together. It's London and it's February, so it's dreary is just a constant state of being over here. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading this book until my library opens at 9 a.m. and then I have to head over there to drop off a few books. I think I have one to pick up, and then I'm just gonna be reading this until I have to get ready to go out for my menu tasting, which I cannot wait for. It's gonna be so much good fancy food and hopefully some wine as well. So I'm gonna go read this book and I will update you in a bit. Oh wow, awkward first non-kiss. I'm sorry, Landon, that blows. She's thinking about someone else while on the date with you. That's gotta suck. Okay, I think I'm beginning to see the differences between Wolf and Landon, because Wolf is passionate, he feels things, he expresses his emotions, whereas Landon is very much like duty, honor, we do what we have to, we don't hope for more. And I think as a character, Tana is more inclined to the sort of passion side of things, which is why Wolf is gonna be the obvious hero. It is 11 a.m, so I wanted to come in here and quickly update you on Bring Me Your Midnight before I start getting ready to head off to my menu tasting. I am so excited. But anyway, Bring Me Your Midnight. I am loving this. This whole story is incredibly immersive. There is an aspect to it that does feel a little bit immature, a little bit rushed in a way. I think there are areas of it that really could have been spaced out a bit more. But the whole conspiracy or lies, or I guess, you know, deception around the magic is really interesting to me, and how it is just this organized effort from the people in power to brainwash essentially the people underneath them. I'm kind of wondering though, because it all seems to have been led by this deal with the mainland, so it just makes me wonder why they're all so willing to agree to deceive their own community in this way because of the humans in their world essentially telling them that they have to. Or is it maybe not led by the mainland and it's just them trying to control the ability and power of the magic system so that the council doesn't get displaced? I don't know. I'd be interested to see if it delves into the motivations behind that deception a little bit more. The romance between Wolf and Tana is just so swoony. They're both very much trying to resist it because they do come from like very opposing sides of this whole situation. But you know, the moments they let loose and Tana admits to how she feels about Wolf internally in her internal monologue, and then Wolf has those moments where, you know, in the typical man thing with these fantasies where he grunts or his heartbeat picks up a pace or he sucks in a breath or something like that. It's just so swoony and adorable, and I'm loving the romance and how sweet it is. And I think the only other thing that I really noticed about this book is that I can't really tell what time this is set in, because there are moments where I feel like it's set in a modern context in terms of the language that they use and I guess the way that they have described some of the dresses that they wear. But then on the other side of it, the whole system of this arranged marriage and the powers that be both on the island and on the mainland, and just various other things about the setting and how classic it sounds, and the situations they put themselves in. Like almost, there's a scene where they're almost promenading, like, you know, Bridgerton style. So that makes me think that it's kind of really a period piece and set way back in, you know, I don't even know what the time would be. So it has this like classic historic romantic aspect to it as well as this modern aspect to it, and I just can't place the story, which for me I think is making it even more interesting because it is making the world feel even more magical and beautiful and mystical. So I guess I'm not thinking too much about that setting when I have those moments where I just can't figure out where exactly I am. But yeah, I'm enjoying this book. It's now just past 11 a.m. and I need to start getting ready. I'm sorry, I'm still just obsessed with this cover. I think it is the most gorgeous thing. I think the girl on the cover is absolutely beautiful, and I love the way the blue like weaves in through, and like the moonflowers now appear on the cover as well. It's just absolutely gorgeous. But anyway, I need to start getting ready for my menu tasting, and yeah, we'll head off into central London and I'll decide whether or not I want to wear really high heels or not, because it is cold and wet outside and the only ones I have are open toe, and that just doesn't seem like a good recipe for success. I'm gonna go get ready. I'll see you in a bit. It's Friday morning and this vlog has been an absolute reading fail. For the last 5 days or so, I have been reading Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin, and don't get me wrong, I'm really enjoying the book. I'm up to page 272. I'm having a lovely time. But for a vlog where I would usually read like 3 to 4 books, I am still going with just this one. I'm just finding no time at all this week to do any reading. This isn't really an update. This is me just saying to you, I am planning to smash out this book on every available chance that I get today, before work, on my lunch break, after work, and get this done so that at least this weekend I can add one more book into this vlog. But again, this weekend I'm having a sleepover with one of my friends on Saturday night. We're going like back to your old-fashioned, like old-timey sleepovers that we haven't done since primary school kind of thing. Face masks, staying up late, watching movies, eating junk food, all that sort of thing. So it's not like I'm going to be reading much while I'm there. So I'm really praying that whatever book I pick next out of the Beat the Backlog jar, it's gonna be super, super short, but like even still, this one isn't more than like 350 pages or so, and I'm just really struggling to get through it. I'm gonna get right to reading this. I'm gonna keep this update short because I have got pages to read and a new book to pick. So I will see you when I finish this book. Morning. It is Saturday morning. I woke up like 2 hours ago, had a shower, got ready because I'm supposed to be heading out to my friend's place today, but I wanted to come in and update you quickly before I do that to say that I finished Bring Me Your Midnight last night. I ended up giving it 3 stars because at the end of the day, I think it was a somewhat underdeveloped story that potentially needed just a bit more time. There were a lot of elements to the story that I thought could have been fleshed out a little bit more, like the fact that I didn't really know many details about the setting, even down to like the period of time that the story was actually set in. There were a lot of relationships between the main characters that felt very one note and very one-dimensional. And I think there were a lot of situations with the magic as well that again just didn't really feel delved into or fully explained, that made certain situations towards the end of the novel really confusing about why it happened the way it did. But at the end of the day, I did think it was an incredibly atmospheric and immersive read in the way that it described the magic in this really beautiful, mystical, almost spiritual kind of way. I did love the romance between the 2 characters, Wolf and Tana, and I did love the exploration of her magic. I loved the angst, I guess, that was in that romance. I loved how the plot kind of arced through the story. I just think it really could have been a duology because there was just a bit more time that needed to be spent on some of those other sections. But anyway, since then I have picked up a new book because I did a draw last night, so I'll insert that clip here. And I picked up The Devil's Pawn by Natasha Knight. This is a dark romance. I think it's like a mobster mafia kind of romance as well. And I mean, it is unhinged. I haven't been filming my immediate reactions because I read it last night while I was in bed, snuggled up and looking like a little trash human, but I'll read to you what I wrote down of my reactions of the story. Why am I visualizing the shadowy man in the church as Batman? I love it when the author specifically uses the word foreshadowing in their text rather than letting the reader figure out for themselves that they are foreshadowing. I won't eat you, not yet anyway. Oh my god, the cheese. Jesus, straight into the lust then. This is incredibly overwritten and the chapter endings are really corny. Oh my god, this man is psychotic. Bloodletting? Jesus. This guy is scenting things like a bloody dog. Is she small and fragile? I wasn't sure considering he only mentioned it a million times. And my last comment was that this book is so chaotically structured that I am spending 99% of it confused about what is actually happening and all the relationships between all the different characters. So those are my thoughts so far. I'm about 70% through the book, so I am probably gonna finish it before I head off to my friend's place tonight. Don't get me wrong, this is all making it sound like I hate the book. I do not hate the book. I think it is so bad that it's addictive in a way. It's just so chaotic and addictive and I can't help but keep reading, but I'm not gonna say that it's gonna get anything more than 2 stars. Like, I'm enjoying it, but it's messy. It's so messy. So I'm gonna get back to reading that book and I will update you either when I finished it or when I've got another immediate reaction.